There we go. There we go. Got it. Good evening. I would like to formally invite you to the Chippenham Town Council's Planning, Environment and Transport Committee meeting. Please may I remind everyone that this public meeting is being streamed to YouTube and will be available there in the public domain for a period of 6 months. Can I remind all councillors to use their microphones when speaking and to raise their hand clearly and keep it raised when voting. Please ensure you are respectful of others in attendance at this meeting. Public question time. We have received no public questions in advance of the meeting. Please can officers confirm if there are any members of the public present who have indicated they wish to speak?
There are none, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, so we go on to the agenda. So item 1 is apologies for absence. To receive any apologies for absence, can you please confirm?
Thank you, Chair. We have received apologies from Councillor Pete Cousins due to being away.
Thank you. And any item 2 is notification of substitution. To receive any notification of substitution?
There are none, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And item 3 is declaration of interests. All members of the Town Council are reminded to declare any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests they may have in any business of council, its committees or subcommittees in accordance with the latest approved code of conduct. Councillors are reminded to declare any dispensation granted in relation to any relevant matter. Are there any declarations of interest? Councillor Merry.
My interest as usual in the Chippenham Cycle Network Development Group. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and we go on to item 4. This is to receive the draft minutes of the Planning, Environment and Transport Committee meeting held on 16th of July, copy attached. Okay, so since they were published, it was found the minutes should have amended to include a proposal and vote for the meeting extension. I moved that to the following wording, which is added to the minute 35. Due to the time of the meeting approaching 9 p.m, the chair sought to extend the meeting time in accordance with the Standing Order 4.27 by 15 minutes to enable the business of the agenda to be discussed. With all in favour, the meeting was extended. Okay, I propose that, and could we have a seconder? Councillor Cape. Are there any other?
The amendment. Vote on the amendment.
Oh, are we all happy with that amendment to the minutes? Or raise our hands if we are. Fabulous. Are there any further comments to be made in relation to the accuracy of the minutes? Nope. So do we have a proposer? Councillor Bragg, seconder, Councillor Rutledge. So I move to vote to approve the amended minutes. Please can I have all those councillors in favour? Okay, thank you. Against? And abstain? No? Okay. Okay, so next is item 5, is the subcommittee minutes. To receive the draft minutes from the Neighbourhood Plan Monitoring Subcommittee held on the 18th of June 2026, previously circulated. These are to note. Next, item 6. We go on to Chair's announcements. There are none. Okay, now on to the planning applications. So this is item 7. These are open for discussion. Okay, so to consider planning applications as attached, submitted to Wiltshire Council, and to submit observations. Okay, so the first one is PL 2026-04632. and that is for prior approval part 3, and that we have officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a prior approval application, so only certain things can be considered. No allocated parking provision is proposed. However, the transport impacts are not considered significant given the sustainable town centre location, proposed provision of a cycle store, and recent prior approval of 6 flats at the property on the basis of 0 parking provision. A cycle store is indicated on the block plan, but it's not clear how many cycles this could accommodate and would need to be conditioned to ensure that full details of the secure cycle store to accommodate at least 9 bicycles is submitted. The proposal is considered to have no adverse impacts in relation to contamination, flooding, noise, or provision of adequate natural light. Whilst consent has been granted for flats in this building and other commercial buildings in the town centre, this is the first application that we're aware of in Chippenham which proposes entirely removing a ground floor commercial use in the high street. Approval of such would set a dangerous precedent for similar applications and would erode the vitality and viability of the town centre, which, like many other town centres, is currently under pressure from a combination of different factors. Whilst conversion of ground floor commercial uses to residential uses may be acceptable at the peripheries of the town centre, it would not be acceptable in this location where it's important to retain a geographically tight and therefore strong and sustainable commercial core. The building was specifically designed to be for commercial use, being purpose-built as a banking hall in 1893. It's located at the heart of Chippenham Conservation Area in a prominent high street location. The Conservation Area Character Appraisal identifies the building as one of good townscape merit, and Wiltshire Council have confirmed it previously as a non-designated heritage asset. In terms of the impact of the proposal on the character or sustainability of the conservation area, the character of the marketplace is described on page 139 of the appraisal, which states that the area reads as a series of connected spaces with the ground floor uses primarily retail in character. The harm to the viability and vitality of the high street as a result of loss of ground floor commercial units in the marketplace character area is specifically noted in the appraisal in the last paragraph on page 139. Further evidence that the building is integral to the retail character and appearance of the high street shopping area, and therefore the character of this part of the conservation area, is that it was specifically included within the town centre primary frontage of policy R1 of the North Wiltshire local plan, and that's a saved policy, and was proposed to remain in the primary shopping area within the now withdrawn Wiltshire local plan review. The proposed loss of a ground floor commercial use in this building, including decreased activity from comings and goings and privatisation of a publicly accessible commercial building, would have an adverse impact on the retail character and sustainability of this part of the conservation area, and so there are strong objections on this basis. Finally, it's disagreed with the applicant in their planning statement that the ground floor front elevation represents dead frontage, or that there is a commercial disadvantage when compared with neighbouring premises. The existing front windows are a prominent feature of the building given their height, and the applicant's intention to lower the window sills to head height, as recently approved, would increase the activeness of the frontage were it to remain in commercial use with visibility through the windows. On the other hand, conversion to residential use would make for a less active frontage once blinds or curtains are attached to the inside of these windows. Whilst the ground floor may not be attractive to banking facilities anymore or standard retail shops, there are other Class E uses which may not require standard shop fronts, such as cafes and restaurants or offices, which would benefit from large windows and the historic ambience of this building. There's no evidence that the ground floor would become long-term vacant. So the advice would be to object to this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go to Councillor Rutledge for your comments.
Obviously, we're from,
Sorry, hold on a sec. It's screen different.
do you want me to continue or not?
It's all right, I'm fine. Yeah. Yeah, to go to the ward councillor, which is Councillor Rutledge.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair. This is a building we've looked at a number of times previously, and I understand the requirement to keep it as a attractive property on the high street and the influence it has on the area. And I completely agree with the officer's comments, and I agree with the idea of objecting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from councillors? Councillor Puntis.
Yeah, I just ought to declare a interest because I own the business adjacent to it, so I won't take part in any discussion or decision.
Thank you. Any other comments? No. Okay. So are we all happy with objects? Hands raised if you're happy with object. Yep. Okay. And obviously understandable. Okay. Next one is PL 2026043662, and that is a removal and variation of conditions at 7 Sadler's Mead, Chippenham, and this is Monkton Park, and we have officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. So it would be preferable for the front elevation of this property not to be rendered when the existing stone material has warmth and texture. White untextured render can appear cold and utilitarian and is generally not suited to this country's weather, where it shows up dirt and is harder to maintain. If there is a strong desire for render, it's requested that a buff or cream coloured render be used instead of whites, but the advice would be no objection. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we go to Ward Councillor Murray? Got any comments?
Thank you. I had no representations on this and I can't see any comments on the website. So I agree with our officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from this planning? No. Okay. Are we all happy to go in objection? Hands raised if you are. Fabulous. Okay, on to the next one. That is PL 2026042201, and this is for householder permission at 3 Gladstone Road in Chippenham. It's Hardens and Central, and we go to officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. The Chippenham Conservation Area Character Appraisal identifies this building as a building of poor townscape merit and is described on page 131 as a small bungalow which is set back and appears at odds with the taller buildings that surround it. It would be beneficial if this were redeveloped with a larger building. The management plan SPG sets out a number of development guidelines for the Gladstone Road character area, including of relevance one that says that any new development on or access directly from Gladstone Road should consist of building frontages of appropriate scale and urban character which address the street and have entrances and windows facing directly onto the street. And another one which says that give favourable consideration to any future proposal to redevelopment of the bungalow at number 36 Gladstone Road with a building of more appropriate scale and urban character. Within the above context, the thoughtful and well-designed redevelopment number 36 would provide a built form that would be more complementary to the scale and massing of surrounding buildings than the existing bungalow, helping to better define and enclose the street, while still allowing the front and side elevations of the Grade 2 listed number 1 Wood Lane and number 35 Gladstone Road to remain visible and prominent and not detract from their setting. When viewed from the street, the setback of the proposed building in relation to the adjoining listed building at number 1 would diminish the height of the proposed building. Notwithstanding, if it is possible to reduce the roof ridge height of the proposed dwelling without affecting overall design to match the roof ridge of the adjoining listed building at number 1 Wood Lane, this would be preferable for the amenity of neighbours. The impact on the amenity of the occupiers at number 1 Wood Lane in terms of light and outlook to rear habitable room windows would need to be carefully assessed. The use of high quality contemporary materials would add interest to the conservation area. The proposal would therefore comply with policy TC4 of the neighbourhood plan. The integration of a range of sustainable and energy efficient features such as integrated solar panels, rainwater harvesting, wildlife ponds, swift bricks and heat pumps is welcomed, so the advice would be no objection. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we are going to go to Ward Councillor Rutledge for any comments.
Thank you, Chair. In general, I completely agree with the officer's comments. I did have a look on the Wiltshire site and noted that Jack Kaneinenberg, who lives immediately behind, was one time town architect, I believe, has said he's very happy, but he also proposes that the roof line should be brought down in line with the adjacent number 1 Wood Lane, because otherwise it has more serious impact upon his views from the property immediately behind this. So basically, I'm prepared to go with no objection, but I do think the comments of Jack Kaneinenberg and the officer should be noted. Thank you.
Okay, so are we in agreement? We're going to go for no objection with the comments made by Councillor Rutledge. Yeah. Okay. Okay, on to the next is PL 202604-358, and that's removal variation of conditions at 43 Oak Road, and that is Capon Park and Hunter's Moon. And we go to the ward councillors for that. So that is Councillor Bragg and Councillor Massey.
Okay, I have no objections to this. Is there any new officers' comments at all? No? Okay, no objections.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I note the objections to the previous already agreed planning permission from residents. This particular one is just about demolition of a garage, so the comments are in effect essentially. So I also have to say no objection.
Okay, any other comments? You're all happy with no objection? Okay, thank you. On to the next one, which is PL 202604-270, and that's for full planning permission at 66 Marketplace at Hardens and Central, and we have officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. Policy TC4 of the neighbourhood plan reinforces the relevance and importance of enhancing views and working with the different character areas as set out in the Chippenham Conservation Area Character Appraisal and the Management Plan SPG. The appraisal identifies number 66 as a building of poor townscape merit and is described along with numbers 65 and 67 on page 148 as presenting a long frontage of plain and unattractive modern buildings and shop fronts. There's no objection to the insertion of additional windows and doors at ground floor level. The existing windows at first and second floor level are set within reflective black panel surrounds. This successfully creates the illusion of the window being larger than it actually is, attempting to mirror the proportions of windows on surrounding historic buildings. In contrast, the proposed windows would actually be smaller than existing windows, and the proposed standing seam cladding surround would be less likely to look like part of the window. This would have the effect of windows appearing unduly small and mean on what is a large building, and consequently making the building look more austere and out of keeping with the character and appearance of the conservation area than it already is. It's requested that the ground floor windows, which are proposed to be larger than first and second floor windows, are replicated at first and second floor in addition. This would also benefit residential occupiers by bringing in greater natural light. There are also some concerns as to whether the use of standing seam surrounds for windows would be appropriate on this building, this material generally being used for roofs and larger areas of facade. It's therefore requested that proposed visuals are submitted and or examples of where this arrangement has successfully been used elsewhere. Given these concerns and the size of proposed replacement windows, it's considered the proposal would currently be contrary to policy TC4 of the neighbourhood plan, CP 57 and 58 of the core strategy, the Chippenham Conservation Area Character Appraisal, and the MPPF. So the current stance would be to object. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will go to the ward councillor, which is Councillor Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair. Again, this is a building I think we've seen a certain number of previous planning applications related to, and I agree with the officer's comments. I think the most that can be done to bring this building into something that's a little bit more attractive, the better. So I'm happy to recommend objection.
Thank you. Any other comments from councillors? Councillor Bragg?
Yeah, I mean, this is right smack in the centre of where we want to make a very attractive Chippenham in terms of we've got the Angel, we've got the Orsa Vecchia, various bars and places have tried to make renovations in keeping with the area. I think for this is just really, they must try harder. This is not a great application, and I would say we should always strongly object.
Anyone else? No, so we're all happy with objection. Hands raised if you are. Fabulous. Stupid thing. On to the next, which is PL 2026043770. And this is for full planning permission at 72 Sheldon Road, Chippenham. We have officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. Just a note to say that conditions should be attached to any consent tying the outbuilding to the host property to prevent the outbuilding becoming a separate dwelling in the future. But the advice would be no objection. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If we go to Councillor Baisley first.
Thank you, Chair. Happy to agree with the officer's comments.
And as ward councillor as well, I'm happy to go with the comments as well with no objection. All happy with no objection? Okay, brilliant. Okay. Next one, PL 2026044029, and that is for householder planning permission at 79 Hill Rise. That is Harden Hewish, and we have officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. Similar to the last one, just suggesting a condition to tie the outbuilding to the host property. Thank you.
Okay, right, so we are going to go to Councillor McDermott for comments.
Yeah, no comments to add. Happy with Andy's comments, so no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments from councillors? Nope. Okay. So are we all happy to go with no objection? Okay. Okay. Right. Next one is PL 2026044455. This is listed building consent in Hardens and Central. The Angel Hotel Marketplace. There's no comments from the officers here, so I'll go straight to Councillor Rutledge.
This is 4148 we're looking at, isn't it?
04455.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, that's I'm quite happy to go with no objection on this.
Thank you. Any other comments from councillors? Councillor Bragg.
Just to commend the Angel Hotel for doing a very sympathetic renovation of the balustrade. Looks good.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? No, okay, so we all happy to go with no objection? Fabulous. Next one is PL 2026042002, and this is for full planning permission for the Emmanuel Church in Golden Gate Avenue, and that is Loudon and Rowden. Respective permission for double length standards. Supported for a Sunday morning, for Sunday school classrooms. So there's no officers' comments, so I'm going to go to the ward councillors, which is Councillor Stragg.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the porta cabin seems to fit into the site quite well and neatly, so I've no objection. I recommend no objection.
Okay, any other comments? No. Okay, we all happy with no objection? Oh, Councillor Bragg.
I think there was some concerns raised about cycle parking. If they're going to have an area for, teaching children, it would be better to have more cycle parking in that area. So that's something I'd raise with that one. I don't know if is that.
Yeah, I mean, we can raise that. That's no problem.
Okay, so are we happy to go with no objection with those comments? Unless there's any other comments? No, okay, so no objection with the comments. Next one is PL 2026043997, householder permission in Mulberry House 30 Rowan Hill, in Chippenham, and that's Loudon and Rowden. And that is for internal and external alterations, compromising internal reconfiguration. Okay, so there's no comments from officers, so we go straight to Councillor Stragg.
Thank you, Chair. I would have no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay, are we happy to go with no objection? Okay, brilliant. And the next one is PL 2026044148, and that is the Gladstone consent to display and advertisement at the Gladstone Arms, Gladstone Road, and that is Hardenston Central. And we have officers' comments for this.
Thank you, Chair. So policy TC4 of the neighbourhood plan, as we've heard a lot tonight, reinforces the relevance and importance of enhancing views and working with the different character areas as set out in the character appraisal. The character appraisal identifies the Gladstone Arms as a building of good townscape merits and a positive view towards the building looking along Timber Street. The proposed signage is replacement signage and sensitive to the building's status. It would therefore have a negligible impact on the conservation area in accordance with policy TC4. Notwithstanding, it's recommended that sign D, proposed to be fixed to the adjacent listed building, number 35 Gladstone Road, and for which separate listed building consent would be required, should replace one of the two sign Cs located on either side of the entrance door, as two signs with the same information is not required. So the advice is no objection with those comments. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to go to Councillor Rutledge for any. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Busy night. Yes, I don't see any problem with this one at all. There is already a sign, I believe, on the adjacent building. I think we can see it there. And it's just a change of styling, really, the signs. I don't think the signs are different in size. There's just a slightly more formal styling to the signs they're putting up from the existing ones. So I have no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Stragg, then Councillor Murray.
I had thought that the public house had closed, but this is encouraging to see this application anyway.
It's reopened. Yeah, reopened. Councillor Murray.
I'd just like to say that we agree with the Highways Officer's comments that are on the website, which has got subject to condition that the signage is not, the light sources are not visible from the highway or flashing of any type, which is consistent with our views. So just to back that up, really. Thank you.
Councillor Bragg?
Yeah, same with Councillor Murray's comments, but also to say that I think that the suggested signage is very much in keeping with the area and applaud it. So, congrats.
Anyone else? Nope. Okay, are we happy with no objection? Fabulous. On to the next. That is PL2026045524. And this is, oh, it's tree applications actually, yeah. I should read this. This is Moncton, sorry. It is consent under tree preservation orders, and we have officers' comments.
Yeah. So this is Six Bridges Close, and the arboricultural officer's comments are that the application states that the tree is in the garden of number 6. However, the map indicates that the tree is probably in the garden of number 6A. A medium to large tree is clearly visible from the highway and adjacent footpath. The amenity value is therefore likely to be medium to high. The application states that the tree is to be crown reduced by up to 2 to 3 meters, but doesn't provide any justification for the works. Despite not providing justification for the works and the minor error with regards to the tree's location, it's clearly marked on the map and plan submitted, and the works are relatively minor, and similar works were approved in 2018. In terms of the timing of the works, it should be assumed that birds will be nesting in trees, and that contractors should record and confirm that any works carried out in the management of trees has not disturbed actively nesting birds, but the officer's advice would be no objection. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go to Councillor Murray for any comments.
Thank you, Chair. No, I'm happy to go with that advice. Thank you.
Any other comments? Nope. So are we all happy with no objection? Yep. Okay. And on to the next one is PL2026045510. And this is for the notification of proposed works to trees in a conservation area. It's Hardinson Central, and we have officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. The tree officer's comments are that the 2 trees located to the rear of the property near the western boundary, neither tree is visible from a public vantage point. Amenity value is likely to be very low. As the proposed works are relatively minor and trees of almost no amenity value, the impact of the visual amenity is likely to be negligible. And again, timing of the works should be assumed that birds will be nesting in trees, and that contractors should record and confirm any works carried out in the management of trees has not disturbed actively nesting birds, and his advice would be no objection. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will go to Councillor Rutledge for comments.
Thanks, Chair. Yes, I'm happy to go with no objection on this.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay, so all happy with no objection? Okay. Right, so next one. PL2026045519, and this is for consent under tree preservation order. This is Capon Park in Derrida. And it's 64 Sunderland Crescent, and there is officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. The tree officer's comments are that the tree is located to the east of the property in the rear garden of number 64 and is in proximity to both numbers 64 and 63. Clearly visible from the adjacent footpath and highway, the amenity value is likely to be medium to high. The application states that the works are being undertaken to ensure the canopy of the tree does not directly impact either of the adjacent properties. The proposed works are relatively minor and will have little impact on the amenity value of the tree. And there is a standard clause again about the timing of the works, but the tree officer's advice is no objection. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we go to Councillor Puntis for your comments.
Oh, not councillor Rutledge. No objection.
Thanks. Any other comments? No? Are we all happy with no objection? Yeah, okay, right. Next one is PL 2026045521, and that is consent anti-tree preservation order at Capon Park and Hunter's Moon, and that is with officers' comments.
Thank you, Chair. This is 181 Queen's Crescent, and the tree officer's advice is that both trees are located to the south of the property and are clearly visible from the adjacent footpath and highway. The amenity value of the mature lime, which is T1, is likely to be medium to high. The value of the small maple, which is T2, is likely to be low. The vitality of both appears to be normal. The application states that both trees are to be cut back to previous points, but doesn't provide any justification for the works. Repeated applications have been made to reduce the height of the tree below the existing pollard points. All have been rejected. There have also been repeated applications to re-pollard T1. Works were approved and undertaken in 2021 and again more recently in 2023 to 2024. Pollarding is a traditional method of tree management with pruning cycles of typically between 5 to 7 years. The more frequently a tree is pruned, the greater the likelihood of introducing disease and decay, long-term harm and possible tree loss. In this instance, given the tree was pruned only 2 years ago and the regrowth is minimal, repollarding can not be justified, and the tree officer is recommending objection. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to go toward councillors Bragg, and then we go to Councillor Massey.
Yeah, I agree with the tree officer's advice. It seems that trying to pollard the tree every couple of years and all the other applications they've made, they maybe didn't like the tree, but it's a great tree, and they should just save the money and enjoy the shade in this hot weather. But I go with objection.
Councillor Massey?
I'll go along with the officer's comments. No objection.
Thank you. Any other comments? No, no objection? All happy? Oh, objection. Yes, this chair. Objection, yeah? Okay. And okay, that's it for that one. So part 2 of that one is to consider whether a request be made to Wiltshire Council ward member to call in any of the attached planning applications for consideration by the Northern Area Planning Committee. Are there any planning applications that we would like to put forward? No? Okay. And these next two are to note. So the decision made to fell a lime tree located at land fronting 64 Queen's Crescent, Chippenham, SN140NN, as the tree classification as dead and dangerous, copy attached. And the second to note is the Town Council's tree application PL 2026045520. Notification proposed works of trees to trees in a conservation area located at St Andrew's Church Marketplace. And that's the lime group of 12 trees, reduced from tree height only, and that's copy attached. Okay, now the following items are to note. Questions may be asked for clarification. Delegated decision. Okay, number 8. To note the decision made under delegated authority by the Chief Executive as set out in Standing Order Section 11 regarding providing a consultation response for a vegan market and proposed temporary road closure of the High Street, copy attached. Item 9 is the temporary street closure traffic management. To note the following. The temporary closure of the A350 part and A420 part from the 10th to the 15th of August between the hours of 2000 hours and 600 hours, dependent on the weather conditions. Copy attached. Hope you've all been doing your reading. Temporary closure of Westmead Lane part on the 8th of September between the hours of 9:30 and 3:30. Copy attached. Next one is the temporary closure of various roads for Chippenham Half Marathon on the 13th of September, with the rolling closures between the hours of 9 and 1. Copy attached. Item 10, items for communication. To consider any items for communication from this meeting to the public. Do we have any items for communication for residents? No. Okay. And second part is to consider any questions or actions from this meeting to refer to the Youth Council for their opinion and response. Do we have any questions or actions for the Youth Council? No. Okay. Which leads me on to number 11. Date of the next meeting will be on the 27th of August at 7 p.m. here in this current place. Okay?